At 11 at night, I pushed open the front door, grocery bag of late-night takeout swinging from my hand. Muffled gasps were coming from the living room. Daniel stared at me in horror, the woman in his arms fumbling to cover herself with a throw pillow. I set the bag down calmly and took out my phone. Click. Emery snapped the photo cooperatively. My name is Olivia, I'm 35, and I've been married 10 years. Half an hour earlier I'd still been at the downtown office working late over the month-end reports when Daniel's WhatsApp came in. Honey, you've worked hard, come home and rest. Figuring he'd been stressed lately, I deliberately detoured to the place downstairs and bought the barbecue combo and cold craft beer he loves. The second I pushed open the front door I thought I was trapped in a nightmare. The table lamp in the living room cast a tawny, suggestive glow. Two figures were tangled on the couch. The man shoved the woman off him and scrambled for his clothes. Olivia. Let me explain. Daniel's voice shook. Looking at the man I'd shared a bed with for 10 years, I felt an unexpected calm. Explain what? I raised the phone. Want me to switch to video? The woman had finished dressing by now, barely 20, pretty enough. She shrank behind Daniel and peeked at me. Olivia, don't do anything crazy. Daniel reached for me, I jerked my hand away. I'm perfectly calm. I bent and scooped up the lacy underwear on the carpet. I suppose these are yours? The girl's face flamed, she lunged to snatch them. I stepped back. Relax, I'm keeping a souvenir. Daniel finally zipped his jeans and walked over. Olivia, can we talk? Sure. I pointed at the greasy paper bags on the coffee table. I even brought you late-night takeout. Eat up, the more the merrier. Silence fell, thick and terrifying. Daniel swallowed. Chloe, go home first. So her name was Chloe. The girl glanced at me, then at Daniel, and darted toward the door. Wait. I stopped her. Chloe, right? How old? 22, she whispered. Where do you work? I'm an intern at Daniel's company. I nodded. Intern, no wonder you're so young. Chloe kept her head down, yanked the door open, and ran. Only Daniel and I were left in the living room. He perched on the sofa edge, head buried in his hands. Olivia, I really didn't mean for this to happen. Didn't mean for what? I sat opposite him. An accident? Or did she force you? That's not what I'm saying. Say it. I popped open a bottle of craft beer and poured myself a glass. Tell me you were just discussing work. Daniel looked at me, panic in his eyes. Olivia, I admit I screwed up, but could you give me one more chance? I took a sip, the bitterness coated my tongue. Daniel, how many years have we known each other? 13. And married how long? 10. And what have I sacrificed for this home? Daniel went silent. I gave up my grad school offer abroad to take care of your mother, emptied my savings to bankroll your startup, and handled every chore so you could focus on work. Olivia, I'm not done. I stared at him. For 10 years I never doubted you. Even when you work late every night, even when weekends disappear into business dinners, I chose to trust you. Daniel's eyes reddened. I know I hurt you. Sorry fixes it? I stood. Daniel, I want a divorce. He froze. What? I said we're filing for divorce. Daniel jumped up and grabbed my wrists. Olivia, you can't be serious. I've never been more serious. I shook him off. Tomorrow I'm hiring an attorney. No. His voice turned shrill. Olivia, you can't. I regarded him coldly. Why not? We've got the house, the company, all the years we've shared. Those were the treasures he feared to lose. The house is joint property, the company seed money came from me, and as for feelings, I gave a thin smile. Did you weigh our feelings while you were on that couch? Daniel's face went bloodless. Olivia, I swear this will never happen again. Swear. I held up the phone. Take a look. On the screen was the photo I'd taken, blurry, yet unmistakable. You want me to delete it? Daniel nodded frantically. Yes, this will ruin both of us. Then answer me, was tonight the first time? He hesitated. First time, honest? Honest. I opened my contacts. Recognize this number? Chloe's cell glowed on the screen. Daniel's jaw dropped. While she was dressing, I glanced at her phone. I spoke slowly. Curious what your chats say? I'd actually seen nothing, but his reaction told the whole story. Olivia, save it. I pocketed the phone. Tomorrow I'm moving out, you two can do whatever you please. I turned toward the master bedroom, Daniel trailed behind. Olivia, where will you live? How will you manage alone? That's not your problem anymore. I started packing. Daniel stood in the doorway and watched me. You're really leaving? So our marriage just ends like this? I stopped what I was doing and looked at him. Daniel, do you honestly think there's anything left to save? He opened his mouth, but nothing came out. I tucked the clothes I'd need and the important documents into the suitcase. I'll hire an attorney to talk about the settlement, get whatever paperwork you have ready. Olivia. He suddenly rushed over and wrapped his arms around me. I really don't want to lose you. I pushed him away. But you already have. Chloe was just a moment of impulse, I can break it off with her. A moment of impulse? I gave a cold laugh. Daniel, could you at least pretend to have a bottom line? He was struck speechless. I zipped the suitcase shut. All right. Everything that needs saying has been said. When I reached the door, I looked back at the home I'd lived in for 10 years. The living room still reeked of that woman's perfume, and the barbecue combo on the coffee table had gone cold. How ironic. At 2 a.m, I was standing outside my best friend Maya's door, suitcase in tow. The bell rang several times before she appeared in her pajamas. Olivia? What? She saw the luggage and understood instantly. Come in, quick. I sank onto her couch, exhaustion hitting me all at once. What happened? Maya handed me a mug of hot water. I told her everything, from beginning to end. When I finished, Maya jumped up in fury. That bastard Daniel, doing it in your own house. Betrayal is betrayal, the address doesn't matter. I gave a bitter smile. So what are you going to do? File for divorce. Good. She punched the air. And we'll make sure he walks away with nothing. I shook my head. There's no right or wrong in love, we'll just follow the law on the money. No right or wrong? She glared at me. He cheats and you're going to let him off the financial hook? I mean, once the feelings are dead, haggling over cash just dirties me too. Olivia. Maya sat squarely in front of me. Get real, okay? How much have you given this marriage? Now he screws around and you're going to reward him? I went quiet. I'd given up plenty over the years, career moves, hobbies, even nights out with friends, pouring every ounce of energy into this family. Know why I'm still single? She looked me straight in the eye. Because I've watched too many women like you turn themselves into unpaid housekeepers the minute they marry. I haven't. You have. She cut me off. Olivia, when was the last time you did something selfish just for you? I tried to remember, and couldn't. When did you last buy yourself clothes that cost more than $100? When did you last take a trip with friends? When did you last spend money on a hobby that was yours alone? Each question felt like a needle. So wake up. She squeezed my hands. Daniel betrayed you, don't betray yourself over the money too. I nodded. I know what I have to do now. The next morning I took the day off and went straight to a law firm. The attorney who greeted me was a woman in her 40s named Eleanor. Avery, from what you've told me we have a strong case, Eleanor said, scanning the papers I'd brought. The key is solid proof. I have photos. That's a start, but we'll need more: chat logs, hotel receipts, transfers, shots of them together in public. I thought for a second. How do I get those? There are several ways. Eleanor adjusted her glasses. All will require your cooperation. For the next hour she walked me through the divorce process and what to watch out for. When I learned that adultery lets me claim fault and demand a bigger share of the assets, I felt real confidence for the first time. Leaving the office, I WhatsApped Maya, you were right, I'm fighting for myself. She replied instantly, now that's the Olivia I know. In the afternoon I went back to the downtown office. Coworkers gave me odd looks, probably about the sudden morning off. I'd barely sat down when Daniel messaged me. Olivia, can we talk? Talk to my attorney. You actually hired a lawyer? Of course. The phone stayed quiet for 10 minutes, then another ping. I've already broken up with Chloe. I stared at the line and felt nothing. And, then we can start over. I almost laughed out loud. Daniel, do you even know what start over means? Olivia, I get that you're mad, but we can't just. I blocked his number. After work I swung by Eastbrook and printed a full statement for our joint checking account. Eleanor had said a financial forensics trail is crucial in divorce. Back at Maya's I spread everything on the dining table and went through it line by line. Some interesting patterns jumped out. Over the past 3 months Daniel had wired out large sums marked business expenses, but the amounts and timing made no sense at all. I snapped a photo and sent it to Eleanor. She texted back, let's set up a time tomorrow to go through those transfers line by line. I was still sorting when Maya walked in from work. So? Find anything? I pushed the bank statements toward her. Do these transfers look normal to you? Maya studied the pages. The rhythm's off, and the amounts are weird, right? I tapped one line. Every Friday, $2,000, memo always says business entertainment. Nobody entertains clients on a schedule like that. Maya narrowed her eyes. Bet the money's going to the intern. That's what I think. I'll trace where it landed tomorrow. How? There's a way. I remembered the trick Eleanor had taught me that afternoon. Eastbrook can produce the full ledger, complete with payee names. Maya gave me a thumbs up. Dig deep, strip that cheater down to his boxers. I laughed, my first real laugh in months. Maybe what's restarting isn't a marriage, it's my life. First thing next morning, Eleanor met me at the branch. With her guiding me, I filled out the request for the detailed history. Just as we'd guessed, the so-called business expenses flowed to a single account. The name on the account, Chloe. This is gold. Eleanor nodded, satisfied. Proves the affair started early and that Mr. Grant used marital money to bankroll her. I stared at the columns, feelings tangling in my throat. The oldest entry was 3 months back, $20,000, listed as consulting fee. After that, weekly deposits that climbed from $2,000 to $5,000. Total? Eleanor did a fast tally. Roughly $150,000. $150,000. More than half a year's salary for me. Outside the bank, I texted Daniel. Tomorrow, 3 p.m., Eleanor his office, divorce settlement. Half an hour later he answered, Olivia, can't we talk in private? No. Another pause, then, fine. I'll bring counsel. So he'd hired an attorney too. That afternoon Maya took the day off and came shopping with me. Seeing Daniel tomorrow? Yeah, settlement meeting. Nervous? Not anymore. I lifted a sharp black suit off the rack. I just want this finished. In the fitting room Maya called through the curtain, Olivia, you're glowing, haven't seen you this alive in 10 years. In the mirror I met my own eyes. Determination looked good on me. At last, I was living for myself. The next afternoon I arrived 10 minutes early. Promptly at 3, Daniel stepped in with a man in his 40s, his lawyer. He froze when he saw me. Olivia, let's begin. I sat beside Eleanor and cut him off. Daniel's counsel opened. Regarding property, we propose the statutory split. Acceptable, Eleanor said, but given Mr. Grant's fault, we'll be seeking a fault-based adjustment. What fault? The other lawyer asked. Eleanor slid the transfer printout across the table. Using marital funds to support a third party, sufficient? Daniel's face strained. His attorney scanned the sheet, frowning. The nature of these transfers requires verification. Payee, Chloe. Weekly pattern. 150,000 total. I leaned forward. What else is there to verify? A beat of silence. Daniel spoke up. Olivia, can we speak alone? Say it here. He glanced at the lawyers, then clenched his jaw. I concede fault. His own counsel blinked. So you admit the affair? Eleanor asked. Daniel nodded. With his admission on record, the rest moved quickly. We own 2 properties. The marital townhouse we'd bought at marriage and a rental condo picked up 3 years ago. Statute let me claim half of the combined equity, but with his admitted misconduct, Eleanor secured better terms. The townhouse was mine, the rental his, plus he paid me the difference in value. The startup equity was trickier. I'd supplied the seed money, yet the company was registered in Daniel's name. Settlement, I kept 40%, or he bought me out at market price. I'll take the buyout, I said without hesitation. Daniel looked startled. Olivia, are you sure? It could be worth more later. I want 0 ties to you. Eleanor ran the numbers. Current valuation puts 40% at around 1.2 million. Done. Daniel agreed through gritted teeth. We split the joint checking account down the middle. I also demanded $200,000 in emotional damages compensation. 200, his lawyer objected. That's excessive. Supporting a mistress with marital money, inflicting profound emotional harm, 200 is reasonable. Eleanor held firm. In the end, the emotional damages were set at $150,000. The entire negotiation lasted 3 hours. When Daniel signed the divorce agreement, I noticed his hand trembling slightly. Olivia, just sign. I didn't look at him. 1 month later, the divorce was finalized. I stepped out of the county clerk's office and took a deep breath at the entrance. The sky was a brilliant blue, the sun deliciously warm. I was free. Maya pulled up. How do you feel? Light. I clicked my seat belt. Really light. Celebrate? Absolutely. We went to the most expensive restaurant downtown and ordered enough dishes to blanket the table. To your new life. Maya lifted her glass. To my new life. The red wine tasted a little bitter at first, but the finish was sweet, just like my mood right now. The first thing I did after the divorce was switch jobs. Before, to keep the household running, I'd chosen a company close to home even though the ceiling was low. Now, with no strings attached, I landed a position that paid better and promised real growth. My new colleagues were young and pulsing with energy. Liv, you don't look 35, the junior assistant, Wang, told me. Really? I checked the mirror. Actually, my color had improved lately. And you're amazing, you handle so much on your own. I only smiled. I didn't tell him that back when I was juggling work and family, the stress had been 10 times worse. Now I could focus on the job itself, and it felt almost effortless. The second thing I did was renovate the house. The marital townhouse was legally mine, but every corner carried an old memory. I replaced every stick of furniture and reworked the floor plan. Do you want to redo the master bedroom too? The contractor asked. Everything, I said firmly. I don't want a single trace left. 3 months later the makeover was done. Standing in the brand new living room, I felt reborn. Nothing here remembered Daniel. The space was mine alone, a canvas for the future. The third thing I did was feed my own curiosities. I'd once wanted to study painting, but Daniel said it was a waste of time. Now I enrolled in an oil painting class and went every weekend. My teacher said I had talent. Avery, you should have started years ago. Starting now isn't late. I blended a pile of paint. It's never late. Besides painting, I signed up for a yoga studio and a lap swim club. My after-work hours were packed. Maya teased, you're busier than ever, but this busyness makes me happy. I stretched. Before, I ran for other people, now I run for myself. On weekends I'd catch a movie alone or meet friends for dinner. Sometimes I'd spend an entire afternoon in a cafe, reading or sketching. These stretches of solitude let me meet myself all over again. Turns out I'm pretty good company. 6 months later I ran into Chloe at the Cornerstone. She sat in a corner, eyes red, fresh tears. When she saw me she froze, then dropped her gaze. I hesitated, then walked over. Mind if I sit? She looked up, startled. Liv. I just want to talk. I took the chair across from her. Chloe stirred her coffee nervously. Liv, I'm sorry, you don't need to apologize. I cut in. I want to ask you something. She nodded. Do you actually love him? She blinked, then shook her head. I don't know. Then why were you with him? She was silent a long while before whispering. He was good to me, bought me things, took me to upscale restaurants. And then? Then he said he'd divorce you and be with me. Tears slipped down again. But after the divorce he changed. I waited. He became volatile, lashed out, blamed me for wrecking his family. She sobbed. Last month he hit me, so I moved out. I raised an eyebrow. He hit you? He said it was my fault he lost the house and the startup equity. I actually laughed. Chloe, let me give you some truth. A man who'll betray his wife will betray the mistress too. She lifted her head. He claims you ruined his family, but the truth is his own choices wrecked it. But if it hadn't been you, it would have been someone else. I cut her off. His problem isn't who he met, it's who he is. Chloe seemed to absorb that, then nodded. Liv, can you forgive me? I considered. I won't forgive, but I won't hate, either. Why not? Because hating is exhausting. I stood. And, strangely, I should thank you. She stared, confused. If that night hadn't happened, I might still be living the old script. I smiled. I'm happier now than I ever was. Walking out of the cafe, I felt only peace. The past had finally let go of me. 1 year later, I received Daniel's wedding invitation. The bride wasn't Chloe, but a woman I didn't know. Maya waved the envelope, furious. That piece of garbage. Divorced 1 year and he's already getting married again. It's fine. I was calm, it only proved he'd found a new beginning. You're not angry? Why would I be? I'm working on a landscape canvas, his life has nothing to do with me. So, do we crash the wedding? Maya asked, half joking. Go see the spectacle? No. I focused on mixing my colors. That day I'd be at my own exhibition. Yes, after a year of classes, my paintings were ready to be shown. It was only a small group show, but to me it meant everything. It was the first time in my life I'd worked solely for a passion of my own. On opening day, friends poured in to cheer me on, Maya, colleagues from the new firm, classmates from the oil painting class. Seeing my canvases hanging on the wall, I felt deeply satisfied. Taylor, your piece Rebirth is amazing, a girl said, pointing. I walked over. It was my very first painting, a tree growing out of ruins, branches lush, bursting with life. Emery, I said, smiling. That one's special, because it stands for my own rebirth. After the show, our group went out to celebrate. When the wine had loosened tongues, someone teased, Taylor, ready to find someone new? No. I was matter of fact. I'm happy with my life right now. Sworn off love for good? I thought for a second. If the right person shows up, maybe. If not, being alone is just as good. Define right person. Someone who makes me better, not someone I have to shrink for. Glasses lifted, to Taylor's life wisdom. Back home, I stood on the balcony a long while. The city lights were beautiful, glittering against the night. I remembered the same hour a year ago, suitcase in hand, showing up at Maya's door. Desperate, furious, lost. Now I'm calm, fulfilled, excited for whatever comes next. Life can be funny, what looks like an ending is often a beginning. 2 years later, I opened my own studio. After years of building experience and contacts, I took the plunge. The firm focuses on management consulting. Word of my expertise spread fast, and clients stabilized. Ms. Grant, congratulations. Maya arrived with a bouquet for the studio's grand opening. Emery. I accepted the flowers. You told me ages ago I should do this. Your talent always deserved a bigger stage. Friends and clients packed the launch party. One guest, the owner of a cultural media company, studied the paintings on my wall. Ms. Grant, these canvases, are they yours? Yes, I said, a little embarrassed. Just a hobby, they're excellent. Ever considered a solo exhibition? A solo show? I blinked. I know a gallery owner, happy to introduce you. And so, by pure chance, a new door opened. 3 months later, my solo exhibition debuted at a noted downtown gallery. The theme was rebirth. 20 canvases from the past 2 years lined the walls. On opening night, press and art lovers crowded in. A reporter asked, Taylor, there's unusual power in your work. Can you talk about your creative drive? I paused. Everyone hits a low point. What matters is how you rise. What was yours? Divorce, I answered plainly. 2 years ago my marriage ended. How did that shape your art? It forced me to meet myself. I glanced at the paintings. I used to live for other people's expectations. Now I finally know what I want. After the interview, I walked the floor. Watching viewers study the canvases, listening to their comments and praise, warmed me through. This was recognition I'd earned entirely on my own, no favors, no compromises. The exhibition ran for a month, a dozen pieces sold. Painting isn't my career, yet that validation thrilled me. The day the payments arrived, I bought the designer handbag I'd always coveted. Before, the price tag felt impossible. Now, money I'd earned with my own brush felt made to be enjoyed. That evening, Maya and I celebrated at home. Olivia, you're glowing, she said, lifting her glass. Am I? I laughed. Look at you. The woman who once lived for others is gone. This is a brand new you. I nodded. A brand new me. Outside, night was thick, but my future felt flooded with light. Because I finally understood, the best life isn't about finding the right person, it's about becoming the right person. When you love yourself enough, the world finds a way to love you back. And that's exactly the road I'm walking. Thanks for listening. On a scale of 1 to 10, how would you rate this story? If you enjoyed it, please like and share with friends. We'd love to hear your thoughts in the comments. Don't forget to subscribe for more stories. See you next time.